And good afternoon. Thank you for coming this afternoon. For over a century, the Bermuda Post Office has been a reliable and very strong institution. From the days of Postmaster William Perot, Bermudians have relied on the post office to deliver mail locally and from overseas. With the advent of the telephone, email, and instant messaging via social media, the business conditions for running the post office have become increasingly challenging. This means that it is always prudent to examine the business model and develop ways in which to increase efficiencies and to realize any new opportunities to increase revenue. The public will recall that the Sage Commission final report, which was given in October 2013, addressed the lack of efficiencies presented by maintaining a postal system that only minimally takes account of the advances in technology and their effect on communication. That report referred to the post office, and I quote, as a costly example of the consequences of not implementing change. This government remains determined to make all aspects of the public service more efficient and to do so in a manner that preserves jobs while providing best value for the taxpayers of Bermuda. The need for change within the post office has been recognized by both sides of the political aisle. And it was under the last administration that the Management Consulting Services section was engaged to chart a way forward in the move towards greater efficiency in this area. The study conducted by this section identified 3 sub-post offices to close. And the criteria supporting this recommendation included the amount of use and customer traffic, the impact on the BPO's overall mandate, and the current sub-post offices' operating cost and revenue. The 3 sub-post offices earmarked for closure are St. David's, Harrington Sound, and the Somerset Bridge Post Office. These facilities will close with effect from November 1st, 2014. And let me stress, in closing these 3 sites, no jobs will be lost. While some staff will be transferred to other areas within the Bermuda Post Office into vacant posts, I wish to assure residents that home delivery of mail in these areas will continue. And in keeping with the spirit of collective bargaining agreement, this morning a team for the ministry has already met with the representatives of the Bermuda Industrial Union, the Bermuda Public Service Union, and the affected staff to advise them of these changes. The immediate savings resulting from these closures will be about $75,000. However, as part of this closure plan, the government is considering options including the sale, lease, or alternative use of these sites, each of which could provide further savings or indeed additional revenue. Additionally, the Bermuda Post Office will communicate directly with the affected residents regarding their post boxes and the at-home delivery, and every effort will be taken to make a seamless transition to different mail delivery and collection. I think it might be useful for me to provide you with an example of the unsustainable nature of the current way we do business within the Bermuda Post Office. The St. David's Post Office has 683 post boxes, and at the present time, only 208 of those are rented. As the Sage Commission observed, it is clear that the post office's current business model is no longer sustainable. So in closing, let me assure the people of Bermuda that this government is committed to finding the right balance between the efficient delivery of public services and the economies needed to sustain them now and well into the future. Having said that, I'm happy to answer any questions, and the Postmaster General is also happy to answer any questions.
Robin has the mic. If you wish to just...
Minister, these closures, are they really just a result of the economy and because of Sage, or is it, would you say, also the sign of the times? You know, everything's electronic, and regardless of the economy, let's say if the economy was booming, we might want to close. We would have looked at closing the post office anyway, because we use the internet, and I would imagine that would decline.
That question I love. That's when I had to test at school. That was all of the above. I think everything that you mentioned there is valid, and it's prudent to take a look and continue to look at your business operations. And I applaud the Postmaster General and his staff for taking a solid look at where they stand and bringing this forward.
Good afternoon, Minister. Just one question. Do you think it's likely that these three closures are perhaps the thin end of the wedge, and that there could be further closures and cuts further down the line?
It's a good question. Appreciate the opportunity to answer that. This morning, as I alluded to in my comments, we met with the unions and the staff. At this stage, we have no further plans to close any post offices. We will continue to look at the sustainability of the operation, and we will continue to focus very strongly on revenue generation and new business. And any changes that we envision that we might want to make going forward, we will continue to communicate with the staff and the unions and all our partners in that to make sure that we get total buy-in as we move.
Okay, thank you.
One more question, Acting Premier, or for the Postmaster General. You mentioned that there will be no job losses. However, can you give us a number in terms of how many people are affected and what will happen to them? Where will they be transferred?
Thank you, Mr. Trott. The number of people that are affected, I met with them about half an hour ago. There's maybe around 12 people that are affected, and they will simply report to work at a different location. In the instance of the postmistresses or postmaster, they will be utilized in other vacant positions within the post office. The delivery persons, as the minister said, home delivery will continue, and the delivery persons will simply report to work in a different location, but still deliver mail in those affected areas.
Thank you. Tarai, I think as an offshoot to the question you just asked, in my statement I said that the post office would close by November 1st. There's still a lot to do to make sure those changes can be implemented in appropriate fashion, and we will communicate with the union to make sure that happens in the appropriate way. And today we're having this press conference because we want the community to know what's going on so we can all buy in as we move forward. And I have confidence that the transition team that the Postmaster General will form with the staff and with the union will get it done in an appropriate manner, and people will be pleased, will continue to be pleased by the service and the delivery they get.
You did address the structure of the these three locations. What's next for the structure, the building?
No, thank you for that question, Trevor. At this point, we have not decided on any final decision on what will take place with the three locations. Obviously, I think as everyone is well aware, the three locations in St. David's, Harrington Sound, and also up by Somerset Bridge are very nice spots. So there's a lot of potential. There's a potential for sale, there's a potential for lease or whatever. I personally believe that the Somerset Bridge location, steeped in history, with the smallest drawbridge in the world, would make a wonderful cafe and community center in that area. It would attract tourists. It would help our tourism product. So I think this is an exciting venture. Change is always difficult, but we have a lot of opportunity here. We have a lot of opportunity to move forward and improve our community. And so I think with this announcement today, people will start to take a look at some of the options, and we'll look at those going forward.